Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the ALTCast. I'm Katie Cusack, the music editor. I'm here with Luke Nathan, news editor, and David Reale from LYF Supply. Thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk a little bit about your designs because we have our spring fashion issue out this week. We had one of your designs on our models, which was great to have. Do you want to start out by talking about sort of what your idea was behind starting up your embroidery and apparel line?
Well, starting the apparel line, it was just an idea brought to me by a friend after he wanted to connect with me because I was doing a little bit of sewing, tailoring my own clothes to fit me so I don't have to spend extra money on new pants, essentially. And then he brought it to my attention, like, let's collaborate, let's do something. And then we thought about things for about a year as to like, what are we gonna do? We don't know. What are we gonna do? Then he brought the idea like, let's do hats. I'm like, all right. And I really wasn't a hat person ever. So we built on ideas for months and months and months. We tried to go around to the other companies like, can you put these designs on hats? But we were really getting the runaround from a lot of them. So we just figured, let's do this ourselves. We ended up getting embroidery machines. And from there, we just started stitching. Unfortunately, our partnership didn't work out, so we split up, and born was LYF Supply out of that split. And I don't want to say the rest is history, but the rest is happening.
Is a work in progress.
Yes, absolutely.
And LYF Supply means love yourself first.
Yes, the LYF is love yourself first. Yeah.
Can you sort of delve into the meaning behind that branding?
Love yourself first is it's a solid affirmation. It's a belief. I know a lot of people say lifestyle, but it actually is a lifestyle, and it's a way of thinking, and it's a way of actually living your life. Coming up with that name was, I just was randomly looking for a name to rebrand myself, and as I scrolled down my Tumblr one day, my very first post on my Tumblr was love yourself first, and I just said, that's it. And then the supply comes from, I was looking for a domain name. It was LYF.supply, and I said, that's perfect. My brand will also be called LYF Supply.
Right.
But yeah, it's just something that goes beyond clothing and apparel. It's something that, you live with, essentially. And by having that brand, and creating the brand awareness, it's more than just hats for me. It's really, walking the talk. If I'm telling you to love yourself first, even if it's just a brand, I also have to exemplify that, so.
For people who haven't read Katie's story about you this week yet, or for people who are not familiar with your work, and I know it's sometimes tricky to describe your own aesthetic or your own style, but can you paint a picture of what your stuff looks like and kind of the aesthetic behind it?
Yes. It ranges. I have a different categories of things. So initially, the thing that got me the most attention were like these rose designs. These were this was a design we ran with in my previous brand with my partner. We split. I just kept it because it's something I was rolling with. I trust, the people that were attracted to my likeness were kind of like, okay, the rose, we're going to stick with that. So I stuck with it. But instead of making like the natural colored rose, red rose with green stem, I just went with the more minimal approach and just put them on the same color. I love minimalism. I love the aesthetic of, a minimalist design. I feel like a hat that's designed like this is something that can, it's not seasonal, it's not yearly, it's something that you're just gonna wear regardless. And I also have like an icon series where I put a lot of my, favorite artists, favorite musicians, and just favorite people or people that have moved me or inspired me in some sort of way on hats. And that ranges from, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Michael Jackson, which, I'm a Michael Jackson extremist. I'm a Michael Jackson extremist. Who else? Lauryn Hill. That just goes from me being in the living room listening to my sister play the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. It's always sat with me my whole life. I've done Prince. I've done Jay-Z. Jay-Z, I've grown up listening to Jay-Z. I feel like he's been the most influential figure cultural-wise for me. I've also put Kanye West on hats, though I'm reconsidering using those things. But that, and then, I've been using a lot of the Arabic script on things, and this is a fairly new design that I haven't put out yet, but the Arabic script usually goes on the hats on the back of the hats with the rose that are all twill. and those are usually, I have like the same minimal aesthetic with them. I also come up with really clever nicknames for them, like my white and my black was called the Griselda, Griselda Blanco, the Black Widow, plus the Blanco, an all white one. The Burgundy is Super Tuscan. I use that phrase in reference to Burgundy now. I no longer use Burgundy. I use Super Tuscan. Just for my love of wine. My dad was always a big wine guy, put us on the wine. As you know, when I was like 19, 20, though I didn't really like it, but I grew up to really like and love red wine. And whenever we celebrate, we get a Super Tuscan. So when I started making hats, I said all Burgundies will be Super Tuscans, no matter what. And then outside of that, it's just kind of just like the custom work that people want for their brands, or if they're musicians. I usually do their hats. So
yeah. You did the godly hats.
Did
for
the godlies?
Ozzy.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
And then you have your Schenectady line also. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the history behind that and your research progress and putting that together? And it's it keeps with that minimalist style, but I think it has a lot to carry behind it.
Yeah, honestly, the Schenectady design is my favorite design. It's the one I take the most pride in. Me being a resident of Schenectady, lifelong resident. When I first started doing the stitching, I knew I was going to stitch hats. I said, even me and my former partner, we were saying, like, we want to make something for our city or maybe our area. And we went over a couple thoughts. I mean, I know he had a lot of ideas. I had a few ideas, but being I didn't have one that I was really passionate about, I just said, well, I'll put that off until later. And then came the time where I was just like, I really want to make something for Schenectady. And then I was thinking about what's the culture of Schenectady. It has to be cool, but it has to fit everyone that's from Schenectady. I want to create a pride piece, essentially. And I just couldn't think of I'm just exploring the culture. What's the culture of Schenectady? We don't know. You just don't know. So I just was doing my research. I looked into the history of Schenectady, and I ran into that phrase, and I'm just like, okay, I like this. Okay, I like this. So did a little more research, but I just liked the way that was spelled. I mean, it's not obvious that it says Schenectady, and I think it was another one of those, what does that say, triggers that I really like. I like people to say, what does that mean? What is that? And so ironically, on Columbus Day, that's when I actually finalized that and said, okay, I'm going to go with this design. And then on the back of the hats, I threw the feather on the back just to pay, homage to the Mohawk Indians, because that's a derivative of the Mohawk Indian language. And that's, I want to give the pride to that as opposed to, let's say, the Dutch who settled here. I want to give it to those who were indigenous to this land. Yeah. And then it hit really big. I can't lie. It hit really big.
Yeah, I think a lot of your designs are really strong statements, and like you said, making people question and look at things another way and ask, what does that mean? What's sort of the conversation starter inspiration that you've had to start these kinds of lines? Like
in terms of like the statement based?
Yeah, like starting conversations about what's going on or the history behind an area, or like you said in our interview before, sort of working off of the Arabic script and making people look at sort of a stigma of a culture another way.
Yeah. Yeah, and funny about the Arabic script is when I did LYF last year, there was this guy who, because I did this for the first time with like a maple leaf in the back. It was on an orange hat. And he says, oh, this should cause some controversy. And in my mind, I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Why should it cause, it's just Arabic script and it says love yourself first with a leaf in the back.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be controversy. Hopefully it triggers compliments because it was a really nice hat. But in this day and age with the current climate of America, Muslims and people that are Arabic have that stigma attached, terrorists and all these things. So this was, in addition to me just loving the font, I just think it's beautiful. And I actually want to learn how to write it myself. It's pretty difficult. It was just like I said, it was my pushback. I'm from Schenectady. I'm born in America.
Yeah.
And I'm not Muslim per se. However, I love Arabic script, and this is a cool design, and I don't care if it's controversial. You're gonna see it. So
You mentioned you do work for artists sort of on request or sort of custom kind of designs.
Yep.
It also seems like clearly you have your own sort of creative impulses and your own kind of interests as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah.
Is that hard to balance those two, like doing work on order and also doing work that you want to do? I mean, can you marry the two, or?
I don't know if I can marry the two, but they're definitely dating each other. I can say that. But I haven't found a way to marry them yet. So I'm still looking for ways to do that, and obviously that will come with more machinery, things that would allow me to handle the amount of work that's required for my brand, and also doing work for others,
right.
And having other people help. I do outsource some of my stuff just to handle the load. I mean, I do have those creative impulses, like you said, and I can be in the middle of doing some custom work for someone and say, I want to know what this looks like right now. Let me just put this on pause. Mm-hmm. But I also want to have, good integrity as someone who's providing a service for someone. So it gets to be a little difficult, but I just do it, and I've been doing it at least, at the amount of hats and custom orders I'm doing now, in addition to the demand for my brand, it's becoming out like a very, very, very overwhelming, but I have to do a lot of self-talk. Like I go, David, you have 2 minutes to be on your social media right now for whatever it's going to be, showing people me stitching, or if I'm going to say something, or even if I'm just going to browse. I have to literally take every minute into consideration, because 2 minutes could turn into 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I usually time my custom orders, which are usually in bulk, from anywhere from 10 to most recently 100 hats that I'm doing. I have to really, I do it per hat. So I know my machine lets me know this hat's going to take 5 minutes. So I know, okay, out of 100 or 96 hats, that's going to be 8 hours total. How do I break that up in my day so that I can also focus on everything else? So every minute counts, essentially. So I have to really, take time management into consideration and really follow the schedule that I set for myself to do it. But it's hard work, but I make it happen. Mm-hmm. And people are still coming back. Thank you guys for trusting me with your brands. I appreciate it.
And you've found the time for collaborations as well, obviously. Yes. Working with fellow artists in Miracle on Craig Street.
Yep, Miracle on Craig Street.
The Basquiat themed sort of paint and you stitch, right?
Yep.
Can you sort of explain more of what that is, and can people still get involved in becoming part of this program? Yeah,
you can get involved in Miracle on Craig Street. They do a lot of paint and sips. They do a lot of creative events to raise awareness. So if you need any information on Miracle on Craig Street, you can contact me directly, or you can contact Rosa Rivera or Rachel Frazier, and they'll be the ones that can really get you the solid info as to exactly what they need for involvement. But the best way for the public to be involved and for it to be fun is to join these paint and sips. They do a lot of paint and sips. Ray Frazier is the artist.
Yeah.
And she's another person that I've grown up knowing her and Rosa my whole life. And I stress to them the importance of brand awareness, because though Miracle on Craig Street is a non-for-profit, it's still a brand. You want to create the awareness to get the public involved. So I like for Ray to be the one who leads the paint and sips as opposed to just hosting, because she is an artist. She's done. I should have wore them today, but it's too hot. She did these custom boots for me. They're dope. She does them for a lot of people. But honestly, Miracle on Craig Street it's a good organization that is trying to do something really great for the community, despite the things that may hold them back or the things that may make it very difficult. They're pushing, and hopefully it perseveres. But I would say the one way for everyone to have fun and to really engage is to attend these paint and sips, attend these events that they're having, because more times than none, you'll see me collaborating with them to help raise the awareness. I also pledged to make sure I donated $1,000 to them, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's through hats and stuff like that. So, attend their paint and sips, attend their events, and get in touch with them as well.
Yeah.
You work for the Center for Community Justice.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yep.
And working with people who are formerly incarcerated, working with children as well.
Yep.
I'm wondering if is that just a job that you do, or does it inform your work, your creative work in any way?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
It's a job. I also do custom work for our events.
Oh.
So, and they're very supportive of the business, because I started the business while working there. I've been there for 2.5 years, and halfway through, I decided to start my own business, and they're very supportive. Now, the work that I do there that I get paid for, I hope to do for free. That's what I hope to do. I hope to transition into working for myself 100% and then taking time out to help individuals that get out of prison find employment for free. I don't need to get paid for that. But reasons why it's very important work to me is because all of our clients are in Schenectady. A lot of them are from Schenectady. A lot of them I've grown up with. Some of them are friends. Some of them are family members. And it's not often they go through these programs or these processes and, have someone that really cares about their progress as opposed to a number or meeting the requirements of a grant or something like that, where that's important, but I'm for the people and I'm for the, people progressing. And I understand how it's hard to bounce back from a prison bid. It's hard to bounce back, especially if you've been there for 25 years and you have life on parole. It's difficult to adjust to society in 2018. And there's a lot of barriers and there's a lot of, internal and external. And you just need someone that's going to say, yeah, you did 25 years, you're a person, and you've gone through what a lot of us probably wouldn't be able to get through. So you've already accomplished something that gives you the strength or gives you the ability to conquer now the free world, essentially. And so that work's very important to me. And as far as the work I do, the restorative work I do with kids in schools, to quote Kanye West, listen to the kids, bro. It's very important to have early intervention services for kids who may get into trouble or potentially run into the criminal justice system at an early age. And when you don't have those interventions, it could be that pipeline that leads to prison. And they could be the ones coming through the doors again, but not as a youth who's getting a second chance, but rather that person with that felony conviction who's now looking to rewrite their story or start a new chapter. So that work is very important to me, but my goal overall is to be able to do all that work for free. I don't want to get paid for that work. Yeah.
I feel like one sort of central theme that ties all of your work together, not to speak for you, but is sort of that sense of solidarity with people around you. I mean, you have some pretty statement-making designs. Obviously, you have like the Donald Trump design. You have the fuck white supremacy.
We can curse?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We were told sparingly, but yes.
This is the alt. We can. What's the power behind wearing something like that or designing something like that, putting it out into the world as a piece that sort of speaks and stands with your fellow Schenectadians and people, humans in general?
I mean, well, first, it's like the word fuck is very like aggressive. And I feel like sometimes, well, for me, I know when I say it, it's kind of me releasing a little bit of aggression that's in there. But I think while we're in the social media age, and there's things that happen that cause us to want to fight again. Everything's a constant fight. And depending on your role in society or who you are, how you came up, even the color of your skin or your gender or your sexual identity, you have to find your fight. Or you got to find your why, and then you have to fight. And one thing I used to say, just in response to a lot of like things that happen, like marching or protesting, I said, like, who's really afraid to lose their life for what it is they believe in? Like, we don't really have those anymore. And so when I make those statement pieces, it's not like, okay, I'm willing to risk my life, but it's like, I don't care what happens in response to how I feel about something, and also using my work and my platform to have that fight or create that awareness or create that platform for someone to go, to use. Like when people wear the fuck fake friends and white supremacy thing, it's power. Like it's, I don't like, you know what I mean? They're not holding back that feeling, and they're also reinforcing the statement that I'm making and the beliefs that I have. And as I said in the article with you, you don't have to have the same beliefs as me, but I need to know that in this fight, we're together. We're fighting fake friends, essentially, and we're fighting white supremacy. We're fighting the things that are essentially oppressive to people's progress, people of color, or any type of minority. Those statement pieces like that, and then the statement piece, like, with all disrespect, fuck Donald Trump, it's like, whoa, like, I'm saying that, right? Like, it's just, I'm saying that. And for me, it gives me a sense of accomplishment. Like, I said what I wanted to say, and I don't care what happens because It's how I feel. And I'm not saying kill Donald Trump. I'm not saying die Donald Trump. I'm just saying fuck you. Yeah. For all the things that we don't like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously using my freedom of speech and my art to, you know, to push forward that agenda and to align it with love yourself first. You have to have a certain sense of confidence to come out and say those things, because traditionally, and I guess going into Make America Great Again thing, in the 1950s, I probably couldn't, no, not probably, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I wouldn't have been able to say, I mean, who was our president in 1950? I mean, I don't know off top, but in that day and age when you're going through segregation and you're going through civil rights and even before that, if I said anything like that, chances are something could have happened to me. Or if I led a movement that may have, I mean, there were movements essentially that, you know, went against those beliefs, things would happen to you. But today, I feel like anybody, we're all in the you know, we all have the ability to say what we want no matter what. The difference is, are you okay with the backlash? Because the backlash may not come in the form of me getting shot. The backlash may come in the form of social media, you know, bullying, you know, or someone wanting to curse me out. I don't care. Yeah. You know, I really don't care. Yeah.
Or like the whole movement of like blank is canceled. Like people try to like shut you down for whatever. Yeah, it's an interesting way to sort of not have the barrier up of like, yeah, I feel that way, but like I'm not going to come out and like stand on a pulpit and say it, but it's sort of like I'm here and I'm saying it and I can stand by it if I'm questioned about what I believe in this specific situation.
It's like the curse of being a leader.
Right.
You know, I am a leader, and I can't be a leader and be subtle in my beliefs. I can't, you know, kind of I can second guess myself, but I can't hold back what it is I want to, you know, achieve or what I want for people, because it's never really about David, really. It's about everyone, you know. People inspire me. And going back to the work I do from 9 to 5, what can I do to empower them? I show them my designs. I explain them my beliefs. I show them like, hey, you guys can start businesses. You know, I started a business in my living room. I'm kind of learning as I go. Whatever I know, I can teach you. So it's just that, like I said, it's that fight. It's that motivational piece. And it's that, you know, utilizing what's available to you in 2018. Yeah, the playing field's uneven for people, but opportunity can be created by anybody. So,
absolutely. Yeah. It's great.
Thank you for coming and talking to us about your sort of the backstory. I think people will be interested.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
And where can people find LYF Designs if they're interested?
You can find it on my website, LYF. I did bring this right here to put it on camera. Which camera does it go to? See that right there? That's literally the website, except there's a dot in the middle. LYF.supply. That is the domain. You can go there if you want to see designs. You can also follow me on social media, because I do a lot of my updates there. Even things that are not released right away, I post them on social media just to create the awareness. On Instagram, I'm david.lyf. We also have an Instagram page I need to do more work with, lyf.supply, lyf.supply. And on Facebook, Love Yourself First. On Facebook, I'm David Reale. That was when I was a musician, that was my name, David. So, but that's where you can find all that stuff. I'll also have items available in Red Door Beauty Studio in the summer, and that's in Schenectady. I guess that's it.
All right.
And then on me. Yeah. You'll always see me wearing something that I've made.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
It's been great.
Thanks.